Hey, it's your girl, Allison Williams.
Hey, this is Devon Howard.
Hi, this is Beth.
Hi, this is Cindy Mizell.
Hi, this is Tony Walker.
Hey, what's good, y'all? This is Darian Dean.
Hey, everybody, this is the Queen of Philadelphia, Tangeray Hayward.
Hey, everybody, this is Yasdura.
Hi, this is Mason.
Hey, everybody, this is Russell Taylor.
Hey, guys, what's up? This is Ness.
Hey, this is Kenny Allen.
What's up, everybody? This is Cecily.
Hey, this is Corey J.
Hey, this is your girl, Castella.
Hey, everybody, this is Rebecca G.
Hey, everyone, this is Hill Street Soul.
What's up, good people? This is bassist Hubert Eves IV.
This is Melvin Lee Davis.
Yo, what's second? This is Noel Gordon.
Hey, this is your girl, Lady Alma, and you're listening to my friend Troy Saunders on the Bass Entertainment Podcast.
Hey. Welcome. Hey, welcome to another episode of the Bass Entertainment Podcast, y'all. Like I say every week, this is your host, Troy Saunders, and I'm going to give myself some hand claps. Yes. You know, we always say, if you don't love yourself, nobody else going to love you. So I got to give myself some love each and every week. Matter of fact, y'all need to give yourself some love each and every day. You know what I'm talking about? Shoot. Well, anyway, to this week, I'm going to change it up a little bit. You know, usually I'm introducing to you new music. I'm introducing to you indie artists. This week, I'm going to introduce to you all, which y'all probably already know this brother anyway, but I'm going to introduce another music aficionado, and we are going to chat today about music and the knowledge of music and where music is going and how he got to be so knowledgeable. And if you have watched anything on YouTube, like Explain, Whitney Houston, he got a new one out with Cheryl Lynn, Tina Turner. He touched on everybody over there. Mr. Milik Kashad. Yes, he's going to be on here today, y'all. So we are going to have a good conversation. And you know what? I'm going to shut up and I'm going to introduce Milik. Milik, come on in the house, man. Come on in the house.
Hello. How are you? Hello. Thank you for having me, Troy. I've been watching you for a few years now, so I'm glad to finally be here.
Well, thank you. You know, when I approached you, we said, no, I know. I'm like, what? How you know about me? You know, I just got a little thing going on here, you know? So I was so honored that you said yes. And secondly, that you knew about me.
Oh, yes. I know about you. Yeah, I've been following you on Instagram for a while and, of course, YouTube. And so, yeah, I'm familiar with your work, and we cover some of the same artists and things, and there are many of us, so I knew who you were.
Well, you know, it's a pleasure. Let me tell you how, first of all, I've been following Milik for years anyway, but then, you know, he had a thing on May 2nd that I went to. It was a masterclass, shall we say, and he calls it the Crafting the Sound. And this week, or this showcase, he featured the music of Chaka Khan. So you know my behind had to be up in there, right? We talking about Chaka. You know that's my girl, y'all. Anybody that know me know that I go back, Chaka and I go back like babies and pacifiers. So when he was doing that, and he had my girl Karen Bernod up there, and Audrey Wheeler, and Sandra St. and Melvin Lee Davis, you know, I had to be up in there. So I'm like, Milik is putting stuff down. I'm like, how he got all these people up in here? And the musicians were stellar. I mean, the musicians have played with everybody on the planet. So I'm like, this is a world-class event up in here. And it was just so beautiful. They were doing songs like Move Me No Mountain. Chaka don't even sing Move Me No Mountain no more. And I was like, that's what I'm talking about.
Just as sure as I live, I will love you alone. You belong in my arms, you belong in my home. I don't expect you to be someone else that you know. All I expect you to give is all you got. So move me no mountain, turn me no tide, swim in the ocean, long, deep and wide. Just say you love me, long, strong and true, and move me no mountain to prove you do. Move me no mountain to prove that you do.
Yes. The thing that's funny is the event was so popular. I think we're in talks to run it back again in the fall. So I hope more people come out again to spread the word. So I wasn't expecting it to be what it was, but I'm happy people came, and we're going to do it again. And so the same group, but then from there, we're going to do different artists, just to establish and just welcome in more artists and try to teach different people different sounds and things like that.
Shoot, I want to come up there and say, come on now.
Really?
No, you know what? Believe it or not, like if you said, if you watch the Les show, Les said, Troy can sing now.
I'm not surprised.
I can, but can you sing? Because you know a lot of music. So I'm like, wait a second. And you can say, well, that's just high C. One thing I can't do, I can't hear a note and say what it is. I can read it on the paper. But
can I see? I used to sing. Up until I was 18. So everything for me happened late. Like some boys' voices change when they're like 10, between 10 and 15 or 10 and 16-ish. Mine didn't change until I was 18. So nobody ever believes me, but I went to bed and my voice was really high, and then I woke up and I sounded like this, and then I never sang again. I just shut up. So I used to sing and dance, but I don't anymore. So I don't, when people ask, can I sing? I don't consider myself a singer. I don't consider myself as somebody who sings, because, the women or the people that were at Crafting the Sound, those are singers. They sing. I can tell you what's going on. I can hear, but I don't sing. There are people who take that craft very seriously, and I'm not one of them. So,
but you know what? I think if you can sing before that, you could probably sing. When you sang before that, were you singing in choirs, anything like that, or you just singing around the house?
Yeah, choirs. I was doing a lot of stuff. My voice was really high. So choir, theater. I did a lot of theater because I actually thought I was going to be on Broadway. But then it changed. And, they're not writing music this low on Broadway. And then I could dance. So I got a scholarship to dance with Alvin Ailey when I was how old was I? I was maybe 15, 16. I said no, because my family wasn't supportive. They'll be instead of jumping around on stage, you need to be jumping around on a court or on a field, blah, blah, blah. So that was a dub. And so that kind of, that in tandem with, my voice dropping just sort of kind of ended my, my performance art dreams. So I went in another direction.
But see, the way you are, the way you reach out to people and stuff, and the way you can create your own niche now. You don't need nobody to write those songs for you. You can write your own daggone song in the key that you want it to be in. And do your own show, because you're doing films now.
Yeah, but I actually don't have no interest in performing at all. Because people ask me all the time, would you ever sing again? Would you ever dance again? And I'm I always say that if I were meant to do it, I would have found my way back to it. And I just think what I do in the space, a lot of people aren't doing it, because for the first rehearsal for Crafting the Sound, Karen said, this is a lane nobody's in. This is a lane nobody's in. You're doing something that nobody's really interested in doing. Nobody's doing. And I like that. And I think what I do is just as important as everybody that you saw on stage. We all cannot be performers. We all cannot be the star, but we all can play a role in creating something that's meaningful and that's just as effective as the lead singer or, the name at the top of the billboard. And, I get a lot of satisfaction out of doing that than I did when I was singing and dancing.
All right. Well, that makes sense right there. Then I'm going to shut up about doing your own show there.
Hi, this is Melvin Lee Davis, and you're listening to Troy Saunders on Bass Entertainment Podcast. Come on, get you some.
So let's go back to Monroe, North Carolina.
Okay.
Were you born and raised there?
Yeah, so born in Monroe Matthews, and then grew up for the most part in Charlotte. So it was about 40 minutes outside of Charlotte where I was born, but I grew up in Charlotte. So it's the difference of saying like, oh, I'm from Brooklyn, but I grew up in Manhattan. Yeah, you know.
But the funny thing about it, I would never think you were from the South. Because my parents, my family is from, you ever heard this place, you didn't hear about it. It's so damn small. Scotland Neck, North Carolina.
Actually, I have heard of that, yes.
But I didn't know it was Scotland Neck until I got older because my grandmother used to say, we going down to Scotland Neck. So I thought it was Scarlet Neck or something like that, you know?
Yeah.
So, and you have a voice that's more, it sounds like it's more European. And
that's a first.
Or European, the Caribbean, mixture. Like, so when I said North Carolina, I was like, wait a second, I thought he was from, UK or something.
That's the first time somebody said that sounds European. Thank you, I think.
No, it's cool.
I'm from North Carolina.
So what you do with your Southern accent?
I don't know. I feel like I've always spoken like this. I don't think I really have an accent. I think I talk really slow. I think I talk slow. That's about it. But I don't really hear an accent. But you know what's funny is every time somebody meets me, within like the first, I would say 5 to 10 minutes, they imitate me. So you saw Sandra and Audrey were all imitating me up on stage, but it happens literally every time. Everybody I meet, they are imitating my voice, and I'm just like, oh my God, is that how I sound?
But you know what? It's unique and it works for you. And
Thank you.
Just like the guy that got up on the show, he's like, I knew that voice. That's the voice from Explain.
Yes, and then like if you see some of the comments, they say they think I'm a computer. They don't think it's real. And so I've had people who watch the channel. They're like, oh my God, so that is your voice. You do talk like that. I'll be like, why wouldn't I? So I get that all the time.
Well, it's a good thing because your voice is distinct. Matter of fact, I'm going to date myself. You probably even know this because it used to be a 7-Up commercial. I'm trying to remember the man that did the 7-Up commercial. And he would talk. He had a voice like yours.
Uh-huh.
And oh my God, what is the man's name? He used to do Broadway and stuff like that shows. The Uncola. Drink the Uncola 7-Up. Yeah, but I can't think of the man's name. But anyway.
He did Broadway?
Yeah. Huh. What is the man's name? Anyway, we're going to find out before the show is out. I'm going to look it up, 7-Up commercial. But then you went to... did you go to Wake Forest first?
No,
you went to University of North Carolina.
Yeah, I went there first. So while I was there, I was a social work and psychology major. So I'm like, 18, 19 at the time. So I was like, I had retired, as I say, from the arts, from performing. And my junior year, I was in my first relationship, if that's what you want to call it. And the guy I was dating at the time, I don't know how he found out, but he found out about my performance background. And he was like, you got all this talent and you're not doing nothing with it, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, I didn't think anything of it. And so, but he got me back into performing. So I won a few talent shows dancing at the school, a couple talent shows and some pageants. But what got me set off to the path that I'm currently on was my junior year. I was also an RA, and I was doing this project. It was like at the onset or the height of the Black Lives Matter movement. So this is like 2015, 2016. And so my coworker had a camera, and I asked her and said, well, hey, can you take some pictures of, this idea that I had in conjunction with the Black Lives Matter movement? It was for me to put it on Tumblr and all of that. And when it came time to do it, her monthly came on, and so she couldn't physically stand. And so she said, here's my camera. Only thing you need to do to take pictures is just hit this button. And so I ended up doing it myself, and I was like, oh my God, this is so cool. Wow, this is so cool. And then that project ended up going viral on Tumblr. But the reason why that's important is because, like, I was a social work major, as I mentioned, and so my days would be spent at my internship just hearing people's stories. People would just come into me, just give me their whole sad story and all of that. And the first rule we learned in social work is you are the expert on your life. And so I got the idea of, like, well, instead of me regurgitating someone's story from the notes I take on my notepad, what if I just put the camera in front of them and let them tell their own story, because they're the experts on their life? And so that's how I took an interest into, like, documenting and documentary work. And so as I mentioned, like at the Crafting the Sound show, my other friend, my best friend, Kalia, when it came time to graduate from college, I was going to try to get a master's in social work. She didn't want to help me with my application because she was like, you don't need to be doing social work. You won't be happy, blah, blah, blah. And I thought she was a bad friend, and all of that. So I tried to do the application myself, didn't get into the school. So I was like, I'm not ready for the real world. I'm not ready for the real world. And then I found the film program at Wake Forest, and that's why I honed my skills in the Masters of Documentary Filmmaking there. And from there, graduated, couldn't get a job. As you go to these art schools, they lie about how easy it is to get a job in the arts once you're out, So went there, did that, but because I couldn't find work as an editor, as a storyteller, that's what started my journey into doing, like, the music documentary work on YouTube. So I think I was I Love Aretha Franklin at the time, and then it transitioned to Black Music Archive, and then now it's Milik Kashad TV. But I started that road because I couldn't find work as an editor, but also where I'm from in North Carolina, I was like the last class to get access to a music and arts education in our public school system, CMS, before they really cut the funding. And so it is through music that I've always been able to understand and connect to the world around me. And so I was like, okay, well, if I can understand the world this way, then there are others who can too. And so that's how we got the Explained series, the early origins of that, and just the other stories that I tell on the channel. That's that story.
See how everything happens for a reason, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yes.
But look at you now.
Look at me now.
You are the bright light.
Yeah, and I would have never imagined, that I would be like, it's one thing to watch them, but it's to be in the same spaces as them, or to actually be able to present them, I never would have thought that I would be in this position, or like when I walk down the street, and it happens like once a week, and somebody recognizes me. It's always a little jarring, but it's shocking. I never thought that, like, it would catch on in the way that it did, because it was just something that I did initially for me, it was relaxing and cathartic for me, but now it's grown into something that's, beyond myself. And I'm trying to learn how to navigate and understand that.
You're a superstar. And what I love, you're so humble. You just sit there like blushing, like, oh man, come on.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. It's really been hard, I would say, the past 2 years. Because it's just like, on one hand, you do want what you do to touch other people and to grow, I guess, in some degree, but I didn't know, and I don't know how to manage this growth, because I do everything on the channel myself, or even the events, like the film that's coming out from the event. I'm behind the camera, so I'm like trying to film it because I'm a filmmaker. I'm trying to film it, but also direct the band and also do this, or I'm used to doing everything myself, and it's just like Karen also said during the rehearsal, she was like, I think you're at a point where you just need help. You need help. And you just need a lot of help. And I was like, oh man, I do. And I never thought I would get to a place where I need help, because I didn't imagine that it would get big. And I can't say it wasn't supposed to be big, but I just didn't know. I don't know what to do. So I'm actually at a crossroads right now because I don't know what to do. Because it's growing.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I'm not nowhere on the side as you are, and I'm still like, I need help. I'm like, I don't have time to do everything that I want to do. I mean, and now I got the radio show also. And then he just gave me something else to do. He said, well, I love your show on Urban Influencer. We want you to now do Off the Grid also. So he wants me to, do another little segment on Off the Grid, just songs that I think are the top songs of the week or whatever. I said, I don't have to be on no billboard, just what I like. He's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, I can do that, So, and then, you don't have kids. I got a daughter, so that takes up a lot of time too.
Yeah. I don't have kids, but at one point, I was working like 4 jobs, 3-4 jobs. I have a day job. That's where I'm at right now. I work for the government. I work for the city. It's a great paying job, but we live in New York, and it's just like every piece of content on the channel, comes out of my pocket. Every show you have seen, and we'll see as of right now, it comes out of my pocket. I don't have any outside funders or help. And so it's just something that I believe in, and something that makes me feel like I'm contributing something positive into the world. So it's worth it. It's just like, I got to figure out where to go from here, how to manage, but also, I don't know. Yeah, just how to manage and make sure things can just keep moving in the direction that they're going.
You and I are on the same thought process with that. I'm like, everything I do is for myself, and I do by myself, should I say. And I'm at that point too, like, what how can I, because tell the truth, I don't trust anybody to do it the way I would do it. That's the problem. And people have proven to me that they don't have the same invested interests as I have in it. So they're not going to put their 100% in it like I will put into it.
Exactly. But I mean, I think that, what I've learned is that because I've been stubborn, trying to do everything myself, I am behind a lot in a lot of work, especially as it regards to the channel, which is like limited the amount of money that I can make on there. Then that, not saying that I was making a lot of money to begin with, but, it's limited the growth across platforms. And so I did recently hire, so I was going to have to edit, the Chaka Khan thing myself, and I was prepared to. But then I have a docu-series coming out at the end of the summer on Deatra Hicks. And I was going to do that myself. I was like, how the hell am I going to edit 2 documentaries and then continue filming for one, but plan the second show, but also continue to write and produce for the channel to keep that moving? And I was like, okay, you know what? You need help. And so I did hire some editors, and what I'm learning now is I have to, just like in any relationship, romantic, platonic, or whatever, I have to learn how to communicate my needs and my wants to ensure that it's as close to what I would deliver if I was doing it myself. So that's a skill that I'm developing, and that's the current challenge that I'm facing is how can I communicate to someone that's not me what I want and what my expectations are. So that's where I'm at right now. And so I'm looking forward to it, and they seem invested. And so luckily, they'll put it together for the most part, but I do have the final say, and then I will be able to come in and tighten things up, but I'm not from beginning to end anymore, and that allows me to plan and do other things.
Hey, this is Corey Day, and you're listening to Troy Saunders on the Bass Podcast.
Let's get back to your knowledge of music.
Okay.
How did this begin? I mean, what was your first musical love? What was the first? Because I know you love opera. And I heard the story about how you first found out about opera by watching PBS. But
that was Laverne Cox's story. That wasn't me.
No, I thought you said you watched PBS.
Oh,
and you saw
Denise Graves.
Yes.
She was on Between the Lions, and she had a blue sweater set on and a big wig, and I forgot what vowel she was singing. I want to say it was the E or the I vowel, and I was like, "Oh, what is that?" And then I went to the public library literally the next day, and I got her Voce di Donna CD. I was like, what? 7, 8. So that was my introduction to opera. But I think my introduction to music period was, of course, my family in Charlotte. We founded a church, New Zion Missionary Baptist Church, which celebrated its 85th anniversary, I believe, last year. So I was there a lot. So that's, and I sang there, did all of that. So that's what sharpened the ear. But what really got me onto music, I would say it was my birth mother. A memory that stands out to me is I would have been around 4 or 5. And so we had a little radio in the kitchen, and it played tapes. And so there was Janis Joplin's greatest hits that she had. She had a wide taste in music. But while she was sweeping the kitchen, that tape was playing, and there was a song called Try was playing. And Janis goes, and I'm gonna try, that part. And it was that part that got me, and I kept saying, Mommy, try me. But it was that sound. It was that sound that got me. believe like, so it was her. And then like the first diva I remember liking was like Tina Turner, because, you know, Fool in Love. Hey, 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 hey.
Yeah.
You know, that part. And then Aretha Franklin was immediately after. I think it's at like what? A minute, 12 seconds on Young, Gifted, and Black. She says, yeah, thank you. You know, thank you, Jesus. And so... It wasn't what got me, it wasn't like their appearances or anything. It was more so the sound that they made. And I was like, how do y'all make those kinds of sounds? Because where I grew up, and in my family in particular, you know, like I talk pretty quietly, I talk pretty low. I'm a pretty reserved person. And most of my family is like that. You know, the only time I wasn't reserved was if I was like actually performing. But like in general, I'm pretty conservative and reserved. And so I was always obsessed and enamored at the idea of just being able to go in front of hundreds and thousands of people and to just make that much sound with no shame. And so that's what got me into like divas and singing. And then like when I find something that I like, you know, I just have to just find things that connect, you know. And so that's how I go from, okay, Aretha Franklin, that connects to this, and go, she connects to that, oh, that connects to this, that connects to that, blah, 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 blah. And that's also how these explain videos end up becoming 3 and 4 hours long, because I just be like, oh, that connects to this, that connects to that. Oh, that is why that happened. Okay, so that helps me understand this better. And so that's just how my brain works. But those sounds, those women who were just not afraid to be loud, that's what got me into music the way that I
Yep. Well, I guess that's the going feeling, because I feel the same way. I mean, I remember as a kid, it was Aretha Franklin and Diana Ross, and then Chaka came out. I was, oh my God, wait a second. She's a little bit Aretha, but on another level. She's doing it a little different than Aretha, you know. And then I said, well, then, you know, then she had all those backgrounds like those Lisa Fisher and all those people that came out. I mean, Chaka was like the staple to sound like or to take something from the 70s and 80s. I'm like, shoot. And then, you know, I mean, and then you go back, you know, back in the day, they used to have those infomercials that came on, you know, Fats Domino and Sarah Vaughan and all that. So I was like, ooh, what's that on that infomercial? I need to get that CD. I need to get, you know, I would be in the, like you said, in the library getting stuff out and listening. So yeah, I mean, a lot of people. I remember I grew up in Brooklyn. So
okay.
So I would be in elementary school, and we had like that little recorder tape, like you said your mother had. I would have one of those with a little earplug in my head, and I would be listening to my music on school trips and stuff like that. And kids would say, "What are you listening to?" You know, they would be listening to whatever was hot, and I'm listening to like Eloise Laws and, you know, all this, you know, G Card and stuff like that, you know.
Yes. That's how I was. Yeah. That's how I was. I sort of kind of checked out of mainstream music, I would say around 2010-ish. I was, because YouTube was had gotten really popular by that time. And so like, I had a even larger access to music because, you know, thank God for YouTube, because, you know, everything wasn't always on CD. Everything didn't get reissued on vinyl. You know, there was unreleased stuff. So I was just like, oh my God, it was just so much rich history that just opened up, and I was like, this right here is so much better than what they're playing on the radio. This is where I'm going to spend my time.
Tell them, and I'm glad you spend your time there.
Hi, this is Cindy Mizell, and you are listening to Bass Entertainment Podcast. Have a good time.
Now, I was watching some videos recently, and you are producing. It looks like you're producing music and producing a show. I heard a lot of Tina Marie songs being sung up in that video. And you got something coming up on Tina?
I do. So that is what you saw is actually not gonna get released, but so I have two things going presently. It's My Life in Song, and that's the docu-series that I was mentioning earlier. And it's focused, the first season is actually focused on Deatra Hicks. It just follows her career, but also just different things. And it's told through songs. And then we have the final filming for that series. And at the end of September, it's going to culminate in the first ever recording, gospel recording, or just official recording with her sisters. Because, you know, they say she started with the Hicks sisters. That's part of her story, but they've never done anything together. So that's part of it. But and then there's the crafting the sound. But basically, I'm trying to get back behind the camera and actually produce instead of just editing, you know, because the explains, you know, they're cool, they're whatever, but you know, I want to try to transfer that into the real world. And so the My Life in Song, there is a Tina Marie episode written, but that initial recording, that initial filming did not go according to plan. So it's still in the works, still happening, but we have rescheduled that filming for next year. But I am doing something on her, and once this Chaka Khan film is out, like I said, we're probably running that show back again in November, doing it a little bit differently, but is really just trying to open up those both series to a wealth of artists who want to share their stories, their sounds, and their expertise. So it's really just, in a way, taking the Explained series and placing it in the real world and allowing people to come and experience it, but also learn it in the flesh and all of that.
And I see also, like, you started with the Explain, but now also you're doing interviews. You're doing, you know, interviews with the artists themselves.
Yeah. That was why I switched to Black Music Archive. Was because that was the first initial name change from I Love Aretha Franklin to Black Music Archive. Was because, of course, you know, everybody thought my voice was fake, and so I was like, okay, well, I'll do the interviews. They'll see me talking. They'll know that I am real. So that was that. But then the interviews were cool. And then like, I was like, I can probably do a little bit more because they're a little bit more accessible to me than I initially thought. And not saying that these artists are cheap. I would never say that because they're not. But they're a little bit more affordable than I would have initially thought. You know, and so I was just like, I'm blessed, you know, I work a lot, but I'm blessed to have a pretty good job to be able to just get these things moving. And, you know, like one thing I've learned about being an artist, or like, if you come to somebody correct, or if you come nicely or whatever, people will also work with you. And so, you know, that is how I actually shifted into doing the live programming. So but also it was to get myself out there, because I've always hidden behind the voice or a pseudonym. And it's just to let people know that I'm doing this work and, and that I would like to connect with people, and I would like, artists to connect with me and be a part of it and, create something. Because with every artist that I do, because I have some on the calendar for next year, and basically, you get the live recording, you get I don't really consider them concerts, but you get the live showcase, and it's made into like a concert film of sorts. But also, I don't get any money off of it, but I do offer them, if you would like to release this as a EP, for your Spotify or something, or, a project, you're more than willing to do so, because a lot of these people haven't put anything out in 10, 20, 30 years. Mm-hmm. And, I don't request any like compensation or royalties or any of that. But what I try to do is give these artists as much as I can, or use what resources I do have to just, give them the tools, whatever it may be, to put themselves back out there. And that goes for the legacy artists as well as the young artists. Because I feel like they're one and the same, like the young artists are trying to get to a point, and sometimes the legacy artists are trying to get back to a certain point or try to get themselves back out there in a certain type of way. So the goals are pretty similar. And so that's why I try to just give, present them in ways so that the public can latch on.
Yo, wait a second. This is Noel Gordon, and you're listening to my man, Troy Saunders, on the Bass Entertainment Podcast, baby.
Anyway, I love working with people. I love working with artists, and to have you on here, I was like, yeah, I need to have Milik on here because I think we are in the same mind frame. I think we have a lot to talk about.
Oh, thank you. Oh, yes.
Even though I'm considerably older than you, but but it's good to see young people out there, getting into the older stuff. And
yeah, I agree. And that's why I try to make the connections. So, if you've seen the explains, of course, making the connections between the gospel and the opera and the this and the that, because it's all, and even like the techniques between this and that, or you can find this sound and this music, because it's all the same. Yeah. It's all the same. And I think if you give it to people in a way that they can understand, they will latch on, or at least be more open to it. So,
well, I'll tell you one thing. Whoever's your music teachers back in North Carolina, they taught you well, because like I said, you hear things that I hear it, but I can't say, oh, that's, like I say, that's a C sharp, and they're coming in on an F, and the chord is this. I don't know. I know what it sounds like, and I know what is wrong and what is right, and when it sounds, I know the sound of it, but I can't give you the theory of it.
I mean, but that's something you can learn, and and again, that's like part of the Explained series, I think, I do know for some people that is the closest they get to music education, and I know I get letters or emails here and there, and I didn't know this, but like, they show those videos in universities. So I can't place a monetary value on the videos, but like, depending on whoever is watching, depending on what you're watching for, you can learn theory, or you can learn, something cultural, or you can just learn. In college, we all had to take a music appreciation class. So whatever you are searching for, unless you just want me to praise your girl for an hour and a half, whatever, if you're searching for something academic or educational, you will find it in there, So, and that's what the series was designed for. And that is what I'm trying to take out into the real world.
Question: if you had a theme song, what would it be? Like if you had a song that you said, this is my song. This song speaks to me. This is the song that I feel if I told somebody to play this song, they would know who I am and they would know how I feel about things. What would be that song? Mine is Tina Marie's Irons in the Fire.
Okay. Oh, we recorded that. Ironically. A song, it would be, the first one that comes to mind is Martha Wash, Give It To You.
That's my jam too.
Yeah, that's what it would be.
I was playing that song over and over just last week. I was like, I gotta hear this song. I'll just play it over.
Yeah, it would be Martha Wash, Give It To You.
Yeah. All right. And why would it be Give It To You?
Because, like, that's what I do. When it comes to the arts, like, that's what I do. And we all have our insecurities, nobody's perfect. We all have our flaws, but when it comes to art, when it comes to creating, when it comes to what I do, in this space, that's what I do, and you cannot tell me otherwise. And I think, when I hear that song, I feel like confident. I feel assured. I feel, like you can't tell me nothing, and that's how I feel with the work that I do.
I'm gonna give it to you. I'm gonna give it to you. I'm gonna give it to you. Gonna give it to you. To you. Gonna give it to you. I'm gonna give it. Gonna give it to you. Give it to
Well, my goal was at a baseline. My goal is to stop spending all my personal money to put these projects together. But I would say that one of my initial goals was just like to have Hulu or Netflix or PBS, granted they just got their coins cut, but
we ain't gonna talk about that stupidness, but
yeah, but it would be to actually have some financial backing behind this. But then I was thinking about it, and I was just like, you know what? Just because something scales up doesn't always make it good. And for the crafting, the sound, and people say, you should have got a bigger venue. You should have got a bigger venue. But everybody loved the venue, and it's just like the energy and that space, that community, that communal feeling. That I don't know. I don't know what other words to describe it, but you can't really replicate that in a bigger space.
True.
And so I was like, you know what? This is something that's cool. It's something that I can manage. And, I had both artists who I've presented there. They said, even though it was a small space, it still had the feeling of performing in front of thousands of people. But I think where I would like to take it now is, I would just like to do more. I would just like to have the resources to do more. That would be it. And, I would love, if I could produce a work that could be recognized for, like an Emmy or something or an Oscar, but that's not important. I think the simplest way to answer your question is I would like to create a work that is in the vein of Paris is Burning. And what I mean by that is I would like to create a film that will always be referenced.
It's true.
Like, if you want to learn whatever it is, you need to watch. This is must-watch material for this topic. Something that will always remain culturally and musically relevant. That is my goal.
Yes, that'll be iconic. Something that's just going to live forever. Because people are still quoting Paris is Burning to this day. For those of you who do not know what we're talking about when we say Paris is Burning is a documentary that was done around in the 80s. And it talks about gay ballroom culture, the language, the voguing, all of it. It goes into all of that. And to this day, it's a staple in the gay community.
Yes. What did Dorian Corey say? Something about shooting for the stars. Yes. And that's how I feel. I am shooting and things are happening. And that's what that is my goal. It's really just to produce more.
Well, it's definitely happening.
Thank you.
It has to. And I'm surprised nobody decided to, sponsor you by now. You've been blowing up all over the place. Seems like you should be able to get some sponsorship.
I don't know how that works. I wish I did, but until it happens, I'm going to keep going, and I know that it will come, I am fortunate that, I've met you, who else? I met Nona Hendricks. She was at the performance. Yeah. Different people have just come out, in support and have shown interest in working with me. So it will come when it comes, and if it don't come, I will continue to do what I can with what I have and still feel the same way.
Greetings, it's Chester Gregory, also known as Chess, and you're listening to the Bass Entertainment Podcast with the homie Troy.
A way of doing it. What camera you use, whatever. Maybe hit them up and say, hey, I use your product. Mm-hmm. I'm seen on blah, 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 blah. I have this many followers on YouTube, so and so and so and so. If you give me whatever, a certain such amount of money, I will have your logo on the video or this and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. I use Black Magic, so I could. I could. Or I'm going to try to, apply for some grants and things like that. But so I'm working on that. That's actually a big part of what I'll be doing this summer is figuring out how to collaborate with more people and to get these things off the ground, especially for what I have, coming up next year, which I'm really, really excited about. So, yeah.
As you all can hear, Milik is doing big things. And, all this stuff costs money. So if y'all want to contribute, if you love Explained, if you love crafting the sound, if you love anything that Milik has been doing, please contribute to his process. You can go to Cash App. You can Cash App my brother at Milik Kashad. You can Venmo him at Milik Kashad TV. And I think he's on Zelle and PayPal. But I don't have those numbers, those names there. But definitely go on Cash App, go on Venmo, and whatever you contribute, $5, $10, it all goes to a worthy cause.
Honestly, that's another goal. It would be cool if they just pay for themselves. They can just fund themselves. Yeah.
Yeah, because I was like, shoot, when you put that show together. Crafting the sound, God, he got Sandra from the Netherlands, Netherlands, and Melvin Davis, and everybody else. I'm like, go ahead now.
Yes, and like I said, I hope, we're going to do it again. And towards the end of the year in celebration of the film coming out. And also I'll probably just film a second part of it because that project was a big learning experience for me as a director. So we'll be redoing this, and that's all I can say. And I think it'll be great. It'll be a great story.
Well, I can't wait. And thanks to you, I got Sandra's coming on the show.
Really?
Yeah. I've been hitting her up on live for a long time. And we used to have mutual friends. So when I told her, I said, well, Sandra, you remember we went to the Smithsonian to see M sing? She's, oh my God, you were there? I'm like, yeah, we were together. So that helped, jog her memory. So, yeah.
Well, that's good. She's coming.
Yes, she's coming. And I've been trying to get Audrey forever also. And she's like, all right, I'm going to do it now. Okay, I'm going to do it now. Karen, she was like one of the first people to come on the podcast. So, she's like, yeah, I'll get my girls on there. So, yeah, but yeah, I am happy that you are successful, and I love what you're doing, and keep doing what you're going to do. Excuse me, keep doing what you're doing. And some kind of way, we got to find a way to work out, maybe help each other some kind of way. I don't know how.
Yeah, but, just let me know. Maybe, you can help me plan or figure out how to do, this second installment of that show again. Because basically it's sort of kind of the same show, but I'm trying to figure out. The challenge for me right now is figuring out how to do it a little differently. So it's not the complete exact experience, but like it's a continuation of the same show, but they're also going to do some of their original music, but I got to just figure some things out, like what would make it worthwhile for those in attendance. So, it can be planning, or if you have people you want me to reach out to that you think would be a good fit, I'm always on the lookout. We can work together. There are, like I said, there are many of us in this space, so, we got to make it work.
Yeah, we do. Malik, I know you at work, and please stay in contact.
I will. I will.
I might be a little more freer in the summer because, Indigo's our daughter's name is Indigo. Mm-hmm. And she'll be out of school. Well, the first 3 weeks in July, one of us got to take her to Hartford every day.
Okay.
So more than likely it's going to be me most of the time.
Okay.
Because I'm retired from New York City Transit.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good chick.
Yeah. So I worked there for almost 30 years. And now just to get out the house and do something, I drive the school bus. So 4 hours of the day, I go out 2 hours, go pick up the kids, 2 hours in the afternoon, bring them back home, and I'm back here again. So, but yeah, during the summer, I won't be driving the school bus. So.
Okay. Well, yeah, I'll be around. I'm not really traveling this summer, thankfully. So I'll be here. I want to come to Connecticut, actually go to that tennis tournament, the in New Haven. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. That's not too far from me. Yeah. I know we'll work something out. And I just want to say, thank you again for coming on. This conversation has been so good, so enlightening, and I'm so glad that you was on here today. I'm looking forward to us hanging out some more.
All right. Well, just let me know.
All right.
I'll be around. All right. Talk to you later.
All right. Peace and love, man.
All right. See you. Bye-bye.
Hey, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this conversation as much as I did. And by the way, I did find out what that actor's name that did the 7-Up commercials. His name was Joffrey Holder. That's who it was. Yes, he was part of The Wiz and so many other wonderful things on Broadway. So yeah, he is the guy that I was saying that Malik sounds like. They have similar voices. And if you loved this show, please, once again, go to www.BAASentertainment.com and check out our other shows. We got like over 135 episodes. So we've been doing this for a while, and I enjoy doing this. And I'm glad. I hope you enjoyed this change. This was not an indie artist that we did today or one of our legendary artists. It was somebody that's making waves in music and independent music as well as with our legendary artist, Mr. Milik Kashad. Yes. Well, you know, we always got new episodes coming up. We got Ascendant coming up. We got Sandra St. Victor, and so much more. So tune in every week to the Bass Entertainment Podcast with me, your host, Troy Saunders. Until then, let's continue to love one another. Let's continue to uplift one another. Let's continue to be at peace as much as we can in spite of everything that's going on in this world. We must find peace within ourselves, and then we can give peace to other people. So until next week, y'all, peace and love.
Hey, y'all, this is David P. Stevens.
Hello, this is Christian De Masonis, a.k.a. Big New York.
Hey, it's Miss Grenade.
Hey, this is David Sosa, the Latin Prince of Soul.
Hey, everybody, this is Kevin Owens.
Troy, Gordon Chambers in the building.
Hey, this is Letty C.
Hey, it's Helen Bruner.
And Terry Jones.
Hey, this is your girl, Lady Alma.
Hey, this is soul jazz recording artist Frank McComb.
Hello, everybody, this is Ricky Jones.
Hey, this is Sticks Bones, that groovy drummer.
Hey, this is Toy Taha.
Yo, what's up, everybody? This is Mark the Divine.
Hi, this is Mason. You're listening to my friend Troy on the Bass Entertainment Podcast.